Harley Davidson part supplier is guilty of fraud. Let's get into this one. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, the part supplier that was supplying parts to Harley Davidson and other companies has been, well, found guilty of fraudulent acts by the Department of Justice in the United States. But apparently they've been let off. What's going on? So a couple of days ago, Proterial Cable of America, who were formerly Hitachi of America, were found guilty under a lengthy investigation by the Department of Justice for falsifying safety standards, let's say, safety certifications of things like brake hoses, brake linings, that kind of thing. And some of the companies were the likes of Harley Davidson and brake system assemblers. So essentially what has happened here, that Proterial Cable, formerly Hitachi, they discovered this themselves. They discovered within a kind of in-house investigation that actually some of their employees were falsifying safety certifications. So then they declared this to whomever, the Department of Justice, you would imagine. And so they've essentially got let off. But this occurred from, get this, between 2006 and 2022. The company, based upon these false certifications, based upon these false standards that the likes of Harley Davidson have been putting onto their motorcycles, okay, it amassed over $15 million in profits. Now, according to the Department of Justice, there are a couple of reports here. One comes from Bloomberg. The other one comes from Compliance Weekly publication, or Compliance Week publication. Basically, what they're saying is that Proterial Cable have already paid back, or they've paid in some kind of way, the $6 million. The remainder has got to be paid. Now, I don't know if that's going to be paid back to the manufacturers like Harley Davidson, or it's got to be paid in some kind of fines or some kind of compensation. I'm really not sure. Now, I do believe there was some issue with brake hoses and brake linings from Harley Davidson, and some other manufacturers had some problems the last few years. And I know some other motorcycle manufacturers have had some similar kinds of issues as well. Now, whether this is all linked in with this case, I'm not sure. But what I find really interesting is, one, it kind of highlights that manufacturers or assemblers, in this case, like Harley Davidson, are at the mercy of their suppliers, and their suppliers doing the right thing, or having robust compliance or systems or safety systems within their own organizations to be able to detect any kind of failings. Now, in this case, it took a long time for Proterial, formerly Hitachi, to discover this. So it's obviously taken a long time. So the system isn't robust enough. Now, since this has come to light and the Department of Justice have obviously taken this on board, Proterial have put in these safety systems and more robust compliance. But it just goes to show, once again, that you can have a manufacturer as big as Harley Davidson, but they're always subject to their suppliers and how good or bad they are. And it always goes down the line. We talked about supply chain issues, from a couple of years ago. And, if you go further down the line, well, who's inspecting the inspector, as it were? How far down the line do you really research, well, where are these products being sourced from, but also how good are these products, how safe are these products, so on and so forth. It just seems to me that you've got a big manufacturer here in Proterial. They're supplying huge amounts of parts to various manufacturers. In this case, it was Harley Davidson. It took, 16 odd years for this to come to light. They've earned $15 million in profits. They're going to have to pay this back. The remainder of this $15 million, 15.1, has to be paid back within 90 days. So Proterial, have to demonstrate to the Department of Justice that they have to pay this back. I mean, it's all a bit smoke and mirrors. What I don't get is that whilst, yes, the company, Proterial, did come forward and show that, yeah, they found that there was an issue with their with their employees. They've since sacked them, but it's unclear whether any criminal charges are going to be levied towards these former employees. And also, well, just because you've come forward, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can get away, guilt-free, as it were. So the Department of Justice, you would have thought, well, this is a safety issue. This is a real safety issue. Breaking systems, of course, duh, it's a big safety issue. So you would have thought that the Department of Justice would at least have fined them, at least given them some kind of heavier sanction. But oh no, they've been kind of, well, I wouldn't say let off with it, but they've been found out they've got to pay their money back. But also, get this, they've been praised. They've been praised for coming forward and showing due diligence and trying to put systems in place. Well, whilst that praise might be worthy, because yes, they have addressed the issue, it still doesn't mean that the company should be praised for having this issue in the first place. So it's a little bit unclear in my mind, and maybe in your mind here. Well, what the hell is going on? A company is clearly at fault. Lives have potentially been put in risk. Harley Davidson as the end user, let's say, as a manufacturer, well, they've been pretty much shafted as well. And they've put their own customers at risk inadvertently. So I suppose it begs the question, well, does this mean that the likes of Harley Davidson and other companies, of course, have to have more robust systems themselves to be able to check their suppliers? But the problem is, you get to a point, well, as I said before, how far down the line do you start checking? And there is within legal process that manufacturers do have to check the compliance of their suppliers. But I think it only goes to about 2 stages down the line. If you go to the raw material supplier, for example, it's not up to the end manufacturer, in the case of Harley Davidson, let's say, to check where the raw material is coming from, let's say. So each company, each stage has their own compliance. And it's obviously breaking down, in this case, to a dramatic effect. It's only by chance that people haven't been hurt in this regard. Now, you could argue, well, who knows if people have been hurt and this just wasn't picked up. You could argue that if somebody's had an accident in the past, they feel it's been blamed on the brakes. Everybody's been saying, no, there's nothing wrong with our brakes and nothing wrong with our braking systems. Well, this might have happened 15 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, do you have a case? Do you have a claim? What about if somebody got really hurt or even suffered a fatality? Do they have a claim now? I don't know. You tell me. I mean, I don't know what the American law is on this. But you would imagine, well, first of all, you'd have to prove it. And then you'd have to say, well, who was culpable, Harley Davidson, or would it be, the Proterial in this case, for this failure? Who knows? Who knows what could happen if anybody's got any comeback on any previous incident? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But Harley Davidson, I believe in this case, just like any other end manufacturer, have been shafted by a supplier who just haven't got their house in order. But most critically, they had employees who were lying about the safety standards of their products. Incredible, absolutely incredible. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I will catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.